So Ho Chi Minh pretty much means he who enlightens. It's one of the many aliases that the president took as he went from country to country, state to state, gathering followers and learning more. He changed his name quite often, but the last change to his name was Ho Chi Minh, which means he who enlightens. And that was before the war started and before they ended up winning. And so no one really wins people win, you win in a war, but then I think there are more losses than winning. But Ho Chi Minh had a vision. He wanted to make Vietnam independent. At that same time, America was fighting the Cold War. The North Vietnam, ironically enough, was supported by Soviet. And then that should say enough, right? Because America is not like Russia. America thinks the Soviet is evil, blah blah blah. So the North was backed by Soviet. So America was back in the South. So America was sending people, was sending weapons, missiles, and all these other assets to the South to help deter communism. Because America believed that communism was, and still is, they still believe that, is a virus that if one country gets it, then it's going to spread like wildfire, and then there'll be a whole communism state. And that is not good for democracy, according to America. So during this time, the president was Lyndon B. Johnson. Him and his administration or cabinet were the ones that were supporting Southern Vietnam and trying to eradicate or stop communism, but they did not do so well. They did not do well at all because the North and the Viet Cong realized right away that they cannot defeat America through conventional war. The best way to do it is through guerrilla warfare, which they learned a lot from China. So guerrilla warfare is attack and move, right? Booby traps. It doesn't require many resources, but it just requires good knowledge of the land and able to blend in and able to really outwit your opponent. And they did just that. They were able to blend in with citizens. So American troops and American leaders were not able to differentiate who was who. America also did not know the layout, the terrain of the land very well compared to Northern Vietnam. One of the most significant reasons as to why they were able to lose. They underestimated their enemy, or if you want to call it, I'm saying enemy as in relations to war, not enemy as in I think they're evil or I think they were the ones that were wrong, right? So whenever I speak about any of these terms, I'm speaking in the sense of war and the sense of enemy and winning and losing. So this is not my opinion on how I view the whole thing. I'm just speaking and using those words for this particular matter. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, Ho Chi Minh means who enlightens. In Saigon, funny enough, Ho Chi Minh City used to be a jungle, right? Not any kind of jungle, but cotton jungle. The trees were massive. So Saigon translates to jungle cotton. Or I think cotton tree. I think jungle cotton is the correct one. So that was a name before that, which makes sense because it used to be a jungle. But after the war and after Ho Chi Minh, or Uncle Ho, as they call him, that's the name that they call him, Uncle Ho. He had a significant role and impact into the growth that we see Ho Chi Minh City is now. It's grown drastically and it's still growing. It's becoming one of the I think it's one of the newest cities. It's around 270 years old, I want to say. But they were able to do that because they were able to get rid of oh my goodness. Y'all know what I mean. They're able to get rid of that C word, influences, because they were able to win the war. And that was what Ho Chi Minh envisioned, and that's what he wanted for Vietnam. So whether you think communism is good or bad, I don't really, doesn't really matter to me. That's not the point of this video. The point of the video is just to make you all aware, but to, bring some of this stuff to you that I did not know about. It's because, as I mentioned earlier in my previous video, if you talk about Vietnam War, America didn't win. Lyndon B. Johnson and his cabinet did their best to try to convince American citizens that we were winning the war, that we are advancing, we are doing this, but somehow they were still sending in more troops. And no matter what, we were not making a dent. Right? Once they switched to guerrilla warfare, it was game over. So I'm probably getting a bit of myself. This story will have will not flow as, because I learned so much. So I'm gonna do my best to try to share with you all. So the whole the movement, or the movement from the north to the south, was called Tet. Tet is a holiday that runs between January and February. And that was the time that Northern Vietnam wanted to attack, because that was the time that they figured the South would be relaxed, and which they were. They decided to send some of their troops on leave because it was a holiday. They wanted to boost the morale up. And ironically enough, the North was very smart. They told U.S. that, hey, we want to have negotiations, or we want to discuss. Let's do the ceasefire and we'll talk. But during that time, right, the Viet Cong were trooping, as I mentioned earlier, they did not go from the north to the south because there was a DMZ zone, which would be illegal. They went through Cambodia and Laos to circumvent that to come to the south. That's a very smart tactic. While it's quite long, but you have to respect the you have to respect the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but you have to respect it. My mind is going, but I learned so much. I feel like I'm just like regurgitating all the ideas to you all. I feel like I'm doing a bad job, but hopefully I'm doing good, because the amount of information I learned is ridiculous. I'll probably tell more as we go about, but that's the gist of what we're going to be doing. And that's the gist of the Vietnam War. Long story short, I'll summarize. It was called the Tet movement because it was during that holiday. The North, the president was Ho Chi Minh, who changed his name quite often. The troops moved from the northern part, from Cambodia to Laos, to attack the south. A surprise attack, and through guerrilla warfare, they were able to defeat the South. They were able to execute those who were in charge, and then drive America out. And that's how the building or the rebuilding of Vietnam started. As I mentioned, 225 years ago, Ho Chi Minh was a jungle. It was not what we have right now. So to go from that to what we have right now is tremendous and a great accomplishment, and I think it's still improving. Ho Chi Minh, the president, he is the one that's on the dongs, which is the currency of the banknote. So we are getting ready to go now to the Cu Chi tunnels, where we're going to explore and learn some more about how these tunnels were utilized as one of the main ways the Viet Cong and the North were able to transport themselves, equipment, asset, medication, and to communicate from the north to the south. So let's get going.